Reading from Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, Book 2, Chapter 1, Text 65. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. śrī-vaiṣṇavā ūcuḥ sadā sarvatra vasati bahiś cāntaś prabhuḥ kaścin sadṛśas tena kathañcid vidyate kvacit. The holy Vaiṣṇavas said, "He is the supreme master and he always lives everywhere, both within and without. No one anywhere compares to him in any respect." In the material world, all things are limited in time, space, and substance. A person in a particular body, for example, has only a certain lifespan. Before and after he is absent from that body. His bodily existence occupies but a small space within the universe. He may move from one place to another, but only within strict limits. And his identity is separate from that of any other person or thing. Lord Vishnu, however, is not an ordinary person, limited in these or other ways. He pervades all time and space, and all other individual people and things are also part of him. This answers the question, where does he live? In reply to the question, what is he like, the Vaiṣṇavas say he is unique and incomparable. No one's beauty or other personal qualities are equal to his, neither within this material world nor outside of it. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Shindu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaiṣṇavebhyo Namo Namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, greetings from Govardhan. It's kind of strange. In the last few classes, I've had these interruptions in the classes. One, Raghunath calling me that his wife, partner, was really sick, and and then the other class, I think it was a Sunday or something, Bhaktivedanta Goswami came in with Niranjan Swami and said they really had to speak to me about something. So, and just before this class, some people came, fortunately before the class. Okay, we're in this Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta. I think what I'm going to try to do in this class is kind of always go back and tell the story, but tell the beginning of the story less and less. And Sanatana Goswami's mission to present in a relatable way the mission of Sri Chaitanya which is to taste and distribute God's own bhakti for himself. And he prays and comes up with this brilliant way. I think we call it samadhi bhasha. Bhasha means the language of samadhi. There are things in our shastra that we haven't found anyplace else, but we accept them as true because they're the samadhi of great souls, and I believe this Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta is in the samadhi of Sanatana Goswami. So he's going to present and explain what Lord Chaitanya gave, which is the essence of the Bhagavatam, by two stories. One story is Narada Muni looking for the topmost recipient of Krishna's mercy, and in this brilliant way it's pointed to the gopis, and in the second way, this quest for what is the place of those who have the topmost devotion like. And again, the place explains about the people explain about the place. You can tell a lot about a person just by seeing what his environment is. Yeah, and wow. Yeah. And so that first story, it's being told, I don't have to go over, it's being told, a summary of the Bhagavatam is being narrated, the summary given by Maharaj Pariksit to his mother at the end of his life. And so she hears this, that the topmost recipients of Krishna's mercy are the residents of Vrindavan, and really it highlighted the gopis, and then she wants to find out about the place. And Maharaj Pariksit explains it by a story, which we're in, of a Brahmin who's not very intelligent, but he has a kind of simple faith, and he worshipped the local goddess who basically gave him a Gopal mantra. But you'll see the theme, he has the sentiment, but it's not fortified by solid sambandha gyan, metaphysical knowledge. One time I used to lead this scholars conference of young scholars that I founded. And we had it for about 10 years. And now most of the people are university professors. Professor Matthew Dasti Mahamuni, Eka Chakra, Eben Graves, Janaki Ram, Professor Elderman. It goes on and on. And it would be all relatively young devotees in their 20s. Right when we started it, none of them had finished their PhDs. They were working on it. And we'd have these conferences where we'd present something interesting that we're studying. The only two God brothers I would invite was Jayadvaita Maharaj and Pradyumna. And one of those conferences, someone made a presentation that a guru has to be a scholar. And somehow or other, I don't know, I felt a subtle contamination. It was like a dig on Prabhupada. Prabhupada knew Sanskrit, he realized, he made commentaries, but he wasn't, his predominant quality was his devotion. He wasn't particularly focused on scholarship and books. Yes, he translated so many books every morning and everything he did, but the person was, no, they must be theologians. That's what he said. A guru must be a theologian. And then Pradyumna, he would always come to the rescue. You could never say never predict what he would say. And Pradyumna said no. He said, Bhaktivinoda Thakur said that a guru must have thorough understanding of sambandha gyan, metaphysical knowledge, basic metaphysical knowledge. And that is the difference. There's matter, spirit, and the controller of both. I explained this many times. Sambandha gyan, metaphysical knowledge, is based on understanding first the relationship between the soul and the body, that we're not the body. The relationship between the soul and God, that we're not God. And the relationship between God and the body, or God and matter, that God's not matter. And he said, very interestingly, that Prabhupada put this on every page. This basic understanding. And I am reading now the 10th canto, Prabhupada's purports, and I'm kind of astounded reading them again. I can see them with greater depth, but also appreciating just that basic philosophical knowledge to ground us in a simple metaphysical understanding that we're not the body, we're not God, and God is not material. It's very, very powerful. So this Brahmin, he has the sentiment. So he has that faith in terms of a sentiment, but he doesn't have deep knowledge. And when you don't have deep knowledge, you get confused, and your faith is not that strong. So although you move forward based on your experience, you get confused. So that's what's being presented here. And first he became confused by the ritualistic devotees, which is impressive. And somehow or other, the deity kept on appearing in his dreams. And I many times told how this sadhu told me that when we're not qualified to be directly connected with the divine on the corporal or bodily platform, but there's a need of faith, God could meet us on the subtle platform, the mind, in dreams. So somehow or other we can't predict what was the past. We can't predict what was the past, but somehow or other that mercy was there and kept on saving him. And then he went from that, and then that somehow didn't satisfy him, and that's what faith is. Faith is, I said, trust by experience. So it's experience, unflinching faith. And trust is something sublime. It's some sublimity, and that becomes your guiding star. And we can see with us, we're here because we've had some experience. And even if we sway to other types of experience, generally we come back. It's just we've wasted time. And the reason we come back is because that is our faith, even though we become confused. I see this with most people. And that's why our retreat was so powerful, the experience that people got that, yes, this is sublimity, this is my goal. Anyway, he knew not that it wasn't that, and then he went to Sagara, the Bay of Bengal, where the Ganga enters into the ocean, and he saw these renunciates, and that's also very attractive. But the goddess again appeared, and he became depressed because he was attracted. He was split. He had this experience, but this was also attractive. But anyway, the goddess appeared and said no. Again it appeared. The goddess said no, and Lord Shiva appeared. Go to Mathura, go to Vrindavan. So Mathura, Mathura, Mathura. And then on the way, he stops in Prayag and he meets the Vaiṣṇavas. And he meets the Vaiṣṇavas. When he meets the Vaiṣṇavas, from an intellectual platform, he becomes confused because they're singing and dancing. I also many times have told this story, that someone sarcastically asked Prabhupada, no, you say no illicit sex, no intoxication, no meeting, no gambling. He said, what do you do in your society for recreation? He said, our society is simply recreation. Chanting, dancing, feasting. But without a perception of meaning and understanding, you can mistake based and prejudge it based on your experience that these dancing and chanting, that it's coming from the mode of passion. So that's okay when it's a discotheque or a party or a wedding, or when it's a spiritual thing, it can become confusing. So he asked, and in a sarcastic way. And now the Vaiṣṇavas that were there, one took compassion on him and began to explain, you don't understand this because we've been committed and initiated. It's not just a formality, but we've taken shelter of the instructions of people who know the Vedas, know the truth, and therefore we're guided in what we're doing, and we're worshiping the Supreme Lord. And according to the mantra, according to our proclivities, there's different forms of the Supreme Lord. And then they hear about this Supreme Lord, and he asks, he feels ashamed that he was so sarcastic. And he just said, where does this Lord live? What is he like? And what benefits does he give? And the Vaiṣṇavas respond, he's a supreme master, he lives everywhere, both within and out, and no one compares with him. Tad ejati, tad naijati, tad dure, tavantike, tarantarasya sarvasya, tarusavasya. He walks, he does not walk, he's near, he's far. The concept of God, why is there the materialistic view is from nothing something comes, but it's just, sometimes atheistic people in debate, they point out what they feel is logical fallacies in terms of the existence of God. But what conception of reality do they have? Bṛhad once said to me, he was studying the Bhagavatam difficulty, he said, it's easier to believe that the universe has come from the pores of Mahavishnu than they then the universe sprouts out of nothing. Because by definition, God has inconceivable potencies. It's logical that God is beyond laws, because then there would be something greater than God. So he's not confined by taste, he's by time, by spatio-temporal, by time, by space. And what does that mean? And that's why it came on some other conception, I forgot why. Why there may be unlimited pastimes of God. Because our conception is that this now is reality. But this now is not reality. There's a past and there's a future. God is not subject to time. And there can be unlimited pastimes. Why just this earth? If he's unlimited in space and time, how many places is God appearing? How many pastimes does he have? And how far back does it go? It doesn't stop, and that's also inconceivable. It would be inconceivable if reality stopped at a particular time and there was nothing before that. And it's just as inconceivable that reality has been existing infinitely. And they're both inconceivable. One must be true, and therefore existence, God, reality. So he's answering the Vaiṣṇavas. He lives everywhere, both within and out. No one compares with him in any respect. So he's explaining. Sarvanta Atma Jagan Ishvareshvaro Yad Sat Chidananda Kano Manorama Vaikunta Loke Prakrita Sadā Bhase Yaseva Kebhya Swamapi Prayachati. He is the super soul within every heart of every living being, the Lord of all lords of the universe, the all-attracted, concentrated embodiment of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. He dwells in the world of Vaikuntha, where he always can be seen, and to his servants he gives his very self. Well, bear with me. I usually don't read the purports, but anyway, we can see what's happening. He's asked these questions, and now he's getting Ishvara Tattva, the truth about God. Ignorant of the many aspects of the Supreme Lord's personality, the Brahmin may doubt how one could devote oneself to a person who has no particular identity or location. Here, the Vaiṣṇavas assure the Brahmin that the Lord does have his own manifold identities and locations. One time I was giving Gita class. You may not know now, but initially in ISKCON, until Burijan Prabhu started the vidyate, there was no education in ISKCON. And it really all started in Vrindavan. Our GBC, a saintly soul named Jagadish, he got deeply into studying the Shastras, the Gita, Prabhupada's books, Burijan Prabhu. We started teaching there in Vrindavan, and then it was formalized into a institution. So I was giving Gita class. I remember one time I give like 18 days, 18 chapters, but I was on the 9th chapter. I think I've told this story before, not many times, but I was in the 9th chapter. Mayat tamidam sarvam jagata vyakti. God says by my fact with this, 66. this great program I have. So the 9th chapter, Krishna says, and I was teaching it this way, and this particular way. By me in my unmanifested form, the entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. So then he says, and yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence, although I'm the maintainer. In other words, everything's within me, but I'm not burdened by it. And then it says, anyway. Somehow I can't find, anyway. Okay, 1 second. God, I thought I would find something that I didn't. Yeah. Anyway, I was teaching that Gita class, and I was presenting that these verses present that God is everywhere, but without the defect of impersonality. He's everywhere, but he's not burdened. He's everywhere, but he's not he's controlling everything, but he's not affected by it. So my point was, God is I forgot, I can't remember, but God is everywhere without defect. And somehow or other, this pretty famous Sanskrit Pandit came that day, passed by and sat in the class, and he loved it. He said, that's the point, that's the real point. God is everywhere without defect. So, here the Vaiṣṇava assures the Brahmin that he does have, even though he's everywhere, he does have, he's everywhere without the defect of impersonality. He is the supersoul both of the entire universe and each living being. Thus his greatness manifests itself within and without. He is the ruler of all the lords of the many universes. Whatever powers and assets other rulers possess, he also has, but in quantity without limit. He is the supreme absolute truth in person, and his primary location is Vaikuntha. Even though as the indwelling supersoul he's hidden, his opulence are fully visible, and his form is the Lord of Vaikuntha, whom his devotees can see to their heart's delight. His beauty, charm, and countless other transcendental qualities are all attractive. And in answer to the question, what is he capable of giving? The answer is his own self. By this, the Vaiṣṇavas imply that he can easily bestow pure devotion and eternal residence, Vaikuntha, what to speak of the 4 goals of material life, as expressed by the prefix pra and the verb prayachati. He liberally gives all this plus himself, which further implies that he and his servants share a flood of boundless ecstasy. Anyway, he's explaining God is everywhere without the defect of impersonality. He's everywhere without the defect of being burdened. He's everywhere and controlling everything without the defect of being personally responsible. And that's the scholar said, yes, this is our tattva. God is everywhere, he's everything without defect. Shruti smriti stuyamana kenasya mahimochitam tad atva vachyamanani paranani muhusri. The Shrutis and Smritis glorify him. Who can describe his greatness? But while you are here, please listen to the profuse histories spoken upon him from the Puranas. So, okay, it's difficult to understand, but there is a way of understanding. If God gives you that realization, Tesham satati yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tvam yena mamupe. For one who worships me with faith and devotion, I give them the knowledge by which they can come. So this is the nature of God. You can't earn God, you can only attract God. This is a basic point. This is the essence of our chanting. We can attract God. We can't cause him to appear on our tongue by the amount of names we chant, by any prescribed, but that effort shows God our sincerity. Kaler doshe nidhe rajan eko asti mahagunan kirtanadeva krishnasya muktasa. This age of Kali is an ocean of faults, but has one good quality. By chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can achieve perfection. That's our faith. We've been given this holy name of Krishna. Yeah, I'm writing about it. I met this one scholarly Vaiṣṇavā in Vrindavan. I took lunch with him. We had some connection. And he explained, which was inspiring to me, and I can't do it, is every morning after Mangal Arati, he sits with his disciples for 2 hours, like a statue, because he said one day his guru called him in while his guru was chanting, and he saw he was like a statue. And I see that if you can, all the focus can come. So I like that in the morning here. I sit like a statue. And that's our faith. And then he said, by doing that, and doing that repeatedly, our philosophy is that sadhana kram, the form of God will appear in our consciousness. And practice and practice and practice and practice. And then the 64 qualities of Krishna will appear in our consciousness. And then practice and practice and practice. Nam, Rup, Guna, Lila, the parikas, the associates of Krishna will appear. And then we'll observe their appreciation of Krishna's beauty, their appreciation of Krishna's qualities. And at that point, we will become attracted. I want to serve Krishna as that person. Because from the perspective of a lover, from the perspective of a parent, from the perspective of a friend, they see the same person but appreciate that person differently. So you'll see which appreciation of Krishna attracts you. So this Brahmin, he was told, you hear, Madhavam nama chalokya pratirupam chagat prabho tato chiradidam sarvam paramcha janasyasi swayam. Just bow down to Lord Madhav and behold him, the direct manifestation of the Lord of the universe, and soon you will understand for yourself all this and much more. This is bhakti. When we turn to God in concentration, you start to understand. And what you understand is your feeling and relationship with God. And you begin to understand what is the nature of God. As God reveals himself as we worship, upasana, we sit, near God, by focusing our attention on God. And that's relationship, where your consciousness goes to that. And then there's reciprocity. So they're telling him, you don't know what we're doing. You've made fun of us. But that's because you don't have this sambandha. Again, we're telling you now, study the shastras and focus your mind on God, and you will understand God. Purport: the Lord of Vaikuntha can be seen directly in his image as Madhava, the presiding deity of Dashvamedha God at Prayag. In the short time the Vaiṣṇavas was speaking to the Pragjyotishapura Brahmin, they could only hint at the glories of Lord Vishnu. But if the Brahmin were to follow their advice by hearing from the Puranas, bowing down to Lord Madhava, and meditating on the deity's beautiful form, more realization would automatically be revealed within his heart. Si Parikshit uvacha tata Shri Madhavam viksha namans tasmin vyachashtasa sarupyam swajape chintya manadevasya kinchana. Sri Parikshit said thus, while looking at Sri Madhava and bowing down to him, the Brahmin noticed some likeness in appearance between Sri Madhava and the Lord on whom he meditated while chanting his mantra. So he was sincerely chanting this mantra without much knowledge and was beginning to have realization of the mantra. He understood it was of a cowherd boy, etc., and it was very similar to this Madhava deity at Prayag. So he noticed, but the Vaiṣṇavas predicted, you associate with Madhava, you begin to realize transcendental knowledge, and he noticed certain features of this deity which he envisioned in his chanting. Tatta kinchat paranam sa Shrinoti saha Vaiṣṇavai tai achyamana vibhada Vishnu murtischa pasyati. There at the Śrī-vaiṣṇavā Ghat, he heard some passages from the Puranas in the company of the Vaiṣṇavas, and he saw various deities of Vishnu they worship. Purport: in the presence of Lord Madhava, he listened to the discussions on such portions of the Puranas as the Mahatmya of Sri Padma Purana Uttarakanda, which praises bathing at Prayag in the month of Magh. By hearing in the company of pure devotees, he became affected by their strong faith and ecstatic mood. Tatapi pratyabhigyayam tasya nasyada chestasa madevo jagad ishoyam madhavopi satam prabhu. Nevertheless, he remained ignorant, unable to recognize his own worshipable deity to be the same Lord Madhava, the ruler of the universe and master of the saintly devotee. So he's in the right direction, but sometimes he makes wrong turns. And that's our experience when somehow we got the Bhakti Lata Beach. We move in the right direction and make wrong turns, and then sometimes go back a little bit. Purport: anyone with good discrimination would have been able to deduce from similarities between Lord Madhava and Lord Gopal that the deity of the Brahman's mantra was the very same Lord of the universe appearing at the Śrī-vaiṣṇavā Ghat. The Brahmin, however, was so foolish. Idam sa vimsrisatyesham upasya jagad ishvara Saeva madhavashayam manyayako yapasyate. He continued to think that this Madhava, the Lord of the universe, was the object of worship for these Vaiṣṇavas, and that his object of worship was someone else. Sankhya chakra gada padma vibhushita chaturbhuja nadma devastata kasmat pratiyeta samadava. Lord Madhava has 4 arms, he thought, and is decorated with a conch shell, disc, club, and lotus. This is not my deity. Why should any Lord look like this? So we're not confused when we see Lord Ramachandra. We think that Krishna is dressed as a king because we have some understanding. Purport: the Pancharatras describe the form of Lord Madhava among the 24 Vyuha expansions of Narayan. Gada, Shanka, Chakra, Padmam, Vibhum, Madhava, Ūcuḥ. When the Lord is holding his club, conch shell, disc, and lotus in that order, clockwise from his lower right hand, he is called Madhava. Nayam Naradha Singharda Rupadari Chamat Prabhu Lavamano Pyasalmina Kurma Koladi Rupavam. My Lord doesn't appear as half man, half lion. He doesn't become a dwarf or take the form of a fish, a turtle, a hog, and the like. Nor does he become the Lord of the Raghus with the signs of a king and bow in his hands. But maybe my deity somewhat resemble the Gopal worshipped by some of those devotees. Still, I cannot imagine that my deity, the Lord of the universe, my deity, doesn't have the characteristics I've heard described in the glorification of Mag and other scriptures. Oh, I cannot imagine. My deity doesn't have these characteristics. My Lord takes care of the cows in the forest along with his many cowherd friends. He holds a flute to his mouth and is decorated with forest ornaments. Just like an ordinary person, he transgresses the religious principles of saints, being always addicted to playful sports with all the cowherd girls. By the power of the goddess, I have felt bliss in worshiping him. Therefore, I shall never abandon him or chanting of my mantra. Thus, the Brahmin continued chanting his mantra in seclusion as before. By the power of the saintly company of the Vaiṣṇavas, he would see his Lord as if directly in person. Because of the nature of the object of his meditation, he sometimes fainted in ecstasy, and when he woke up and noticed that the time for chanting his mantra had been lost, he would lament. What is the cause of this disturbance? Now I'm in great trouble. Night has fallen before I can finish today's chanting. Okay, we covered something today. Jamunajaya, any thoughts here?
Hare Krishna Raj, thank you for class. It's so funny you started off with those verses from the Bhagavad Gita, the 9th chapter, about everything being God, but I'm not in it. And it seems like Krishna wanted me to hear that because I've heard those verses 3 times in the last 24 hours. So it was really very wonderful. I loved how you were saying that God is everywhere without defect. That was such a beautiful way to sum up those verses in the 9th
He's
chapter.
everywhere. He's
Everywhere.
everywhere without defect. He's everywhere without losing his personality. He's everywhere without being burdened. He's everywhere without responsibility. And then that scholar came, said, yes, this is our
Yes.
philosophy. Krishna is God. He's everywhere without defect. Okay,
So
Jamunajaya.
wonderful.
Oh.
Thank you, Raj.
Anybody else? Gail? Anybody else like to say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Yeah, I didn't unmute properly. Yeah, on this same point, actually, I was wondering if you could elaborate on a couple of these things, like the fact that although he's everywhere, he's not burdened. He's not burdened because just by his will, everything is happening? Is that the sense of not being burdened?
He's not burdened like Atlas, right? They have the
Yeah,
Prabhupada which says Atlas is holding up the globe,
yeah.
but he's everywhere. But Prabhupada said his determination is an absolute fact.
Yeah, that's why I
So
said, like, by his will, right? Everything is
right,
happening.
yeah, yes.
Yeah, and
Okay.
also the one about, he's not personally responsible.
Responsible. Yeah,
Yes.
Prabhupada gave the example like a judge. A judge says, you're sentenced to death. You're there in your, you're sentenced to death, or you're rewarded $1 million, or you're in jail without parole for the rest of your life. So he's not responsible for killing someone or imprisoning someone. So therefore, he's completely in control, but without responsibility.
Because it was the way the perpetrator used his free will. That's what's the response. That's
Yeah, yeah, okay. Haribo, Kalachandri, how are you? Haribo? I can see you, but I can't see you fully on the screen yet. Okay, there we are. Haribo,
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
good to see
Thank
you.
you for the class.
Great. Where are you now?
I'm at the gym right now.
Okay,
Been
okay, good.
listening over at the Mississippi River.
Oh, you're in Iowa.
Yes.
Not bad, not bad.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
should
Thank you.
get exercise. Okay, nice to see you.
Thanks very
Thank you.
much.
Okay,
Hare
Haribo.
Krishna.
Anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for class.
Ishwari, Sundari, Haribo, nice to see
Haribo,
you.
nice to see you too. Thank you for class.
Okay, thank you. Good. Anybody else say hello?
Morning, Maharaj.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else?
Sorry. I will be the next.
Okay, there you are, Danny. All right, nice to see you. Okay, anybody else?
Hare Krishna Gamaraj, just hello, Govinda.
And Bṛhad, thank you for class.
Thanks for class.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Yes. We can't wait.
Yeah, just before the class, someone came in. I don't know if you know Bhakti Shastra, but she was out of the country for a while. She couldn't get in. She comes in, and she brought these two girls. Very interesting. One girl had stage 4 cancer and was cured by this doctor in Bṛhad completely.
Wow.
4 years ago.
Wow.
Yes. But the main thing is she got bhakti. That's the main thing. Well, it's nice that she's also living, but Okay. Anybody else?
She
say
wasn't.
She wasn't a devotee before?
Yeah, before going to
No.
Bṛhad.
No.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. They'll visit me again. Anyone else say hello?
Nice.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Krishna-katha. Thank you greatly for the class. And can you explain, please? So Gopakumar, he had very strong faith in his mantra, but he didn't have any knowledge. And so how can it be to have such a strong faith without any knowledge?
He had faith. He had faith in the local deity, that told him to chant the mantra. So therefore he had faith to chant the mantra, but he wasn't educated yet. So he didn't have profound knowledge of it.
Thank you. So it's enough to have very strong faith in Guru, and it's the main thing.
Not yet. Just the local, he didn't have Guru. Just the local deity. He had faith, simple faith. We'll find out more as it goes on. Okay.
Yes, but I mean for us, we have Guru, and Guru gives us mantras. And if we have this strong faith in our Guru, it's the main thing, isn't it?
It should not be sentimental. We should be educated. We should be educated. Okay, Haribo.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, it's Yvette. Thank you for class, Maharaj.
Shri Rupa?
Looking forward to seeing Yvette. Yvette.
Hey, Yvette. Haribo. Nice to see you.
You too.
We'll see
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Hemalata Radha. Thank you so much for class.
Hemalata Radha, you must be in terrible separation getting this viewpoint into
Maharaj.
Maybe call me in 3 days, okay? We should talk. Okay?
Okay, Maharaj,
maybe
I will.
This time on Friday or something like that. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Good to see you. This is Narayani, back in Switzerland.
Narayani. Wow, that was such a great visit, you know?
Yeah, it was wonderful.
And that gift you gave me, that Prabhupada picture, is just perfect on that altar. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for coming to the class. Good. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, and thank you so much for class. So nice to be here.
Okay, it's great that I got a letter from Alex. Yeah, let's go all in. He's written a new drama for those of you that are listening, for our Bhakti immersion at the Super Soul. Alex is coming again with a complete, he's really prepared this drama now, so this is really good. Okay. Okay, Haribo. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, good to be back. Thank you for the class.
Wait. They have big trucks in Mayapur?
No, I wish I was still in Mayapur.
How long were you in Mayapur?
I didn't hear that. What was it?
Oh, how long were you in Mayapur? Okay, we don't want him to crash.
I've been back for 3 weeks now.
Okay. Haribo. Okay, I'm going to head out now. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhayevacha patitana.